This vaccine was studied in over 3,000 children ages 5 to 11 and showed no major adverse or serious reactions, including anaphylaxis or myocarditis for this age range. So it's very important to feel reassured that this vaccine was studied in a large group of children this age and didn't have those serious side effects. So you can feel confident in getting your child that vaccine, that they're unlikely to have a serious reaction. Even though we think in this age range that a lot of kids weren't affected or weren't seriously affected, there were over 90 pediatric deaths in this age range for this illness, for COVID-19. So they are still being affected, and if your child was one of those 90, it mattered. There were 1.9 million children ages 5 to 11 who got COVID-19 in this pandemic. So they do become affected. There were over 83,000 hospitalizations for this age range. So even though it seems like it's relatively few, the only time it matters is when it's your kid and it's that one. And then this also empowers our kids who've had so much fear and anxiety about not only them getting sick, but even more so about them getting someone else sick. And I see that day after day in my office, that kids are worried about taking the virus home, getting someone sick, whether it's their little sibling who was just born or their grandpa who's receiving chemotherapy. So this really empowers children to be able to have that weight lifted, that they are not as likely to spread this virus. You can actually receive this vaccine whenever you have recovered from your COVID-19 infection. So there is no wait period. As long as you have come out of your isolation period, your 10 days, and you are clinically recovering, just in the same time frame that we tell you you'll be able to go back to school. So you're 10 days after your onset of infection and you've had no fever, you're symptomatically improving for 24 hours at least, that's the time frame at which you're okay to go ahead and get this vaccine. We're also able to co-administer this vaccine, so if you are also due for, say, some vaccines at that time, whether it's for your kindergarten vaccines or for your older vaccines or your influenza vaccine, they can be co-administered with this vaccine. We just recommend they do it in different sites. And then this vaccine is given in 2 doses, 21 days apart. The dose is a third of the adult dose, so 10 micrograms as opposed to 30. And in terms of dosing, I think there's some confusion. What if my kid's 11, they get the first dose, and they're 12 when they're ready for their second dose? It's determined by age. So at 11, they would get the smaller dose, and at 12, they would get the adult dose. And so that same dose that's given for those 12 and up would be given if they have their birthday in that interval period.